Kimberly Brown for Chicago CPS Board of Education, District 4. And like I told you guys earlier in my introduction, not only am I a corporate executive, but I'm also an adjunct professor. So right now, so I usually teach like marketing strategy, business strategy, but this term I'm about to start teaching change management, which is amazing for all the reasons, right? We pretty much live in a change management world. Marketers tend to always be the harbingers of change management, but especially thinking about the Board of Education, oh my goodness, so much change management. So, anyway, the book, I'm listening to the professor teach this term, and then I'll be doing the next term. The book that we are reading is called Switch. It's incredible. And I just want to share two takeaways that are relevant to Chicago Public Schools and the board. One, humans tend to be really focused on problems or things that are negative. And I think you all can connect with this, right? Like we're really good at things that we do wrong. We're really good at picking on ourselves and others. We just remember the negative more. Um, but there's an old saying like, you can't ask a fish to climb a tree. So there's now a model that people are starting to learn of like lean into your strengths, right? Like there's going to just be things that you're not good at. So instead of trying to fix things that you're bad at, that maybe you're just going to you're going to spend an outsized amount of energy on and not be very good at, focus on what you're great at and like move that needle, right? It's almost like a matrix or a graph that you can create, right? Like your impact versus effort. So, like, you can maximize your impact with minimal effort by focusing on what this book calls bright spots. So, I would love to hear it. I'm putting out a survey to just folks that we're engaging with in our district on identifying bright spots at your school. Because if we can figure out what's working really, really well, and identify that it's not an anomaly, then maybe we can find patterns that we can quickly and easily replicate and lean into to expand that across the city, right? So we're going to look for bright spots, and we're going to do a survey to do that. But I learned that from this book. Number two, there's a great story of a woman who came in to a class in Atlanta through Teach for America. Amazing anecdote. Her class was first graders, but these students a lot of them had never gone to preschool and never gone to kindergarten. Because unlike Chicago, Atlanta at the time did not have a requirement for that. So some couldn't even hold a pencil. And so she was leading through inspiration, right? Versus like rote academia and goal setting that didn't translate to like your emotional heart, right? You've got to win hearts and minds. And so she set the goal for her young people. And she said, friends, at the end of the school year, you all are going to be third graders. Now, not literally third graders, but they were going to be operating at the level of third graders. And that did two things. One, a first grader thinking, oh, I'm going to be a third grader. So motivational, right? They look up to third graders. And then two, she said, from now on, you are scholars. The words that we use to describe ourselves and others changes our brain. If you use bad words, you will think negatively on yourself. Words have power. And if you are in school or in work, you know this. If you are in therapy or you do anything connected to well talk or coaching, you know this. Words have power. So I have decided now these aren't CPS students, these are our Chicago scholars. And she did. By the end of that year, over 90% of the class was reading and writing at a third grade level because they loved to learn. They were inspired to learn. They cared. So when you lead with hearts and minds and you use your words with power and you set reach goals that inspire, you can change the world. Now, if she went in and said, these kids come from broken homes, they can't hold pencils, the system has broken them, we don't know if they have food insecurity, we don't know what, if you look at the system approach, you're going to get so overanalyzed on what you can't control, you'll never do anything. But she came in and said, these are my scholars. When they are in this room, we are going to build and grow and build a passion for learning. And I believe that everyone has the capacity to learn and have reach goals, and they did. And how can we take that and apply it to every young scholar in our system, regardless of past offenses, neighborhoods, poverty, mindsets? How can we look at our young scholars and say, I'm going to set the bar high because I believe that you can reach, achieve, and exceed my expectations. And as an elected member of the Board of Education, I will do that not only with other elected officials, city and staff members, parents and community members, but our young people as well. How can we set the bar higher on ourselves? Not because it's the right thing to do, but because I actually believe in us enough to know that we can achieve and exceed our own expectations.